Hi, I'm Robert with Money Matters, sponsored by American Tax Service. This is the place where we discuss all things fiscal, financial, monetary, and tax related. And today we have a very important topic to cover, and that is how to resolve back taxes. Now, if you owe back taxes, you know that they are an absolute bane on your life, your finances, and they just affect everything negatively, and it's critical to get them resolved. In this video, we're going to break down exactly how to do that and the actionable steps, strategies, and even a few forms that you may need to fill out in order to get it taken care of. Before we dive in though, full disclaimer, this video does not in any way constitute legal advice. Make sure to do your own due diligence on everything that we cover. This is just to make you aware of some strategies that you can take and some directions that you should explore in your own financial journey. So, having said that, let's dive in. Step 1. Determine the type of taxes that you owe. Now, this will probably be the easiest step because it'll say on the forms that the IRS sends you telling you that you owe back taxes. So it will either be that you owe on income from the federal or the state level. If you're a business owner, it could be employment or payroll taxes, possibly capital gains taxes, like if you win the lottery or you come into a large amount of money, like Richard Hatch, who was the winner of the first season of Survivor. He won $1 million, but then he did not pay taxes on it, and so it ended up kind of being way more trouble than it's worth, and I believe he actually went to prison for a while. Anyway, the IRS came after him, and so you don't want to do that. It could be you owe estate taxes, and then there's also some various federal taxes that it could be too. So first of all, determine the type of taxes that you owe, because that will inform the strategies that you are going to have to take moving forward from there. Step 2. File or refile the past due returns. This step is unavoidable. Obviously you need to file so that the IRS can see exactly how much you made and all that stuff. This is true even if you filed already, but there were errors in your previous filing, in which case you would simply refile. But you would have to also include a 1040-X form, which alerts the IRS that you are amending your previous filing. There is a big exception to this. If filing your forms would trigger a legal investigation, so if you're Al Capone and you're committing fraud and you're doing all this other stuff, and by filing correctly it would show the fact that you are breaking the law, then first you should seek legal counsel, and then your lawyer will determine what to do from there. But most of you good folks out there are upstanding citizens who are not knowingly breaking the law, so we don't have to worry about that. Once you have filed your past due returns, or refiled them as the case may be, you now have 3 basic options. Option number 1 is to set up a payment plan, also known as an installment agreement. Option number 2 is to request penalty relief. You may qualify for this, you may not. Option number 3 is an offer in compromise, often abbreviated as OIC. And this is essentially settling the debt for less than what you originally owed. Now, let's examine each of these and break them down. Option 1, set up a payment plan. This is also known as an installment agreement, Now, there are 2 types. You have the short-term payment plan, and then you have the long-term payment plan. With the short-term payment plan, this is for debts that are under $100,000, And once you set up this payment plan, you have 180 days to pay it off. Fees and penalties do accrue. Keep that in mind. Now, for the long-form payment plan, this is for debts that are under $50,000, Under this plan, you have 72 months to pay off the amount, but you must make monthly payments. Now, it's a little bit confusing because the short-term payment plan is for amounts under $100,000, whereas the long-form payment plan is for amounts under $50,000. Don't get confused. Keep that straight. Take notes as necessary. Make sure that you understand what's going on and that you don't fall victim to any of these little quirks and phenomenons that are in the tax code. Learn to use them to your advantage, because if you don't, you will trip up and you will become a victim of them. And what we want to do is to help you avoid that. Moving on to option 2, request penalty relief. Okay? Now there's a few different ways you can go about this. The first one is first-time penalty abatement. What this means is that if you have been tax compliant for the last 3 years, then this can demonstrate to the IRS that in general you are an honest, straight shooting taxpayer, and they may be convinced to be somewhat lenient towards you in this instance. Okay? And some penalties may be removed. Probably not all of them, but perhaps some of them if you can convince them. Okay? Now, the next type is a reasonable cause relief. So, if you or your family has undergone some kind of disaster or something outside of your control, like a sudden illness or some kind of horrible accident or a natural disaster or something like that, you may also qualify for some type of relief. However, you must provide proper documentation to prove to them that you did undergo whatever the qualifying accident or disaster is. Okay, so an example of that could be like receipts from the hospital, or documentation that your house was destroyed by a flood or something like that. Moving on to option 3, the offer in compromise. This is essentially settling the debt for way less than what you originally owe. So if you can prove that paying the full amount that you owe would result in a significant hardship, then you may qualify. So you're going to have to check your eligibility on the IRS website, and in order to apply, you must complete 2 different forms, okay? The first one is going to be Form 656, okay? Now the second form depends on whether or not you are an employee or an employer. If you are a wage earner or an employee, you will have to fill out Form 433A. If you are an employer or a business owner, then you'll have to fill out Form 433B. Okay? So once you do that, the IRS will review your finances. Believe me, they have their eye on them. And if approved, then you can settle that debt for that amount. Okay? So those are the 3 options that you have as a person who owes back taxes to settle them with the IRS. To go over them again, option 1 is to set up a payment plan, also known as an installment agreement. Option 2 is to request penalty relief. And option 3 is to set up an offer in compromise, also known as an OIC. Doing this on your own as a taxpayer, going up against the federal government, the IRS, is incredibly challenging. They have the full might of all of everyone else's taxpayers' dollars behind them, and if they say no, then there's really not much you can do. Not only that, but processing time for all of these steps can be as much as 6 to 9 months. And I don't know about you, but if my finances are screwed up, it's going to be very difficult to survive for 6 to 9 months. Imagine you wait all that time only to find out at the end of it that the IRS has not approved any of your proposed solutions to resolve your back taxes. So, what do you do? That's where today's sponsor comes in, American Tax Service. Now listen guys, since being founded in 2017, American Tax Service has helped people legally avoid nearly $1 billion in taxes. Okay? Nearly $1 billion in taxes legally avoided. They have the best tax experts in the industry. They have a direct line with the IRS, and they know how to take on the IRS on your behalf, so you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. The EAs and CPAs at American Tax Service are fully up to date with the latest version of the U.S. tax code. They know all the loopholes. They know it like the back of their hand. They know it better than the IRS does. And they know exactly how to take on the IRS and beat them at their own game, so that you will have to pay as little as possible to the IRS. So, you can either struggle on your own and go through all of these steps to resolve your own back taxes by yourself, wait 6 to 9 months, and then get slapped in the face with a big rejection letter from the IRS, or you can reach out to American Tax Service and you can have them resolve your debts for you with the IRS in a fraction of the time that it would take you to do it on your own, and at a fraction of the cost. Okay, these guys are the best. They know exactly how to do this. They do it every day, and they can help you. So once again, that's American Tax Service. Visit their website, click the link below, and get started today and get your financial life back. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Robert from Money Matters. See you next time.